Did you know you can style your outfits to create any look you want? I'm Sheila, I'm a personal stylist, and I help women find the best styles that suit their body shape, their coloring, and their personality so they can dress well with ease. For the best style tips, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and you'll be notified every Tuesday when I upload a new video. Today I'm talking about styling tips that will help you create a slimmer look. But before we go any further, I'd like to change your idea, if you have this idea, of looking slimmer or looking smaller to instead looking your best. Looking slimmer is probably a little overrated. Looking your best, however, is not. What I really love about style and clothes and fabrics is that you can create any look you want simply by putting the lines in the fabric, so considering the lines in the fabric and the lines in your body, and then when they match, you can have a terrific look. So it doesn't really matter how big or small you are, how tall, how short, whatever your body proportions. When you put the lines in your body and match them with the lines in a garment, you can have a wonderful look. So let's talk about that. How does that work? So first, let's talk about lines. Lines are obvious in clothing, like stripes or patterns. Anything that you can actually see is a line, and that's obvious. But there are some lines that aren't as obvious, and that would be the cut of clothing. So such as a V-neck, a round neck, a diagonal neckline. Every piece of clothing has a line. So when you get to know those lines and how they work, especially how they work with your body, you can look a lot better. And the more you know about it, the easier it gets. One of the biggest style mistakes that I see a lot of women make is buying clothing based on size. Now I know you need to know what your size is, but all manufacturers make sizes different. So a size 10 in one brand could be different than a size 10 in another brand. So it's more important that you focus on how the garment fits. Of course, you'll need to go by size to choose that garment, but if it doesn't fit correctly, if it's too tight or too big, well then it's not good for you. So forget the size, just use it as a guideline. What I've noticed is that women will choose a lower size and they're so happy that they can squeeze into it, but squeezing into it will make you look larger. So it's better to have clothes that follow the lines of your body, follow your curves. You want to show your curves. If you have curves, show your curves. So that means not having a garment that's too big and baggy, because you can go to the other side of it, but instead having a garment that fits the contours of your body. So this garment shouldn't be too tight, it shouldn't be too loose. So it should just glide over your body, not showing any bumps or lumps, but instead your curves. So to hide those bumps and lumps, you could use a contouring garment or like a slip, something that will smooth your lines and create a better look. One of the pieces I suggest you have in your closet to make sure you get that perfect smooth look that looks great for you is an undergarment that can smooth out your lines. So here's an example of an undergarment you could wear with a dress that will smooth your lines, because you don't want to have those bra lines showing, and it doesn't matter how big or small you are, they can show. So this doesn't have to do with size, it just has to do with having a nice glide, a nice fit. So let's start by wearing clothes that fit. And if it's slimmer you want, clothes that fit will make you look slimmer. One of the ways to create a more slimming look is to make sure that the lines in your garment aren't interrupted. So what I mean by this is that the horizontal lines, wherever there's an horizontal line, there is an interruption. When you wear two colors together, wherever those two colors come together, you're creating a horizontal line. And that's where the eye will stop. The more horizontal lines you have, the more stops the eye makes, and you will look shorter and you will look larger. So in order to look slimmer, have as few lines as possible, as few horizontal lines as possible. So in this case, you're using color to create that line. If you wear monochromatic colors, and those are colors that are similar, or you could wear just one color, all one color. That doesn't mean that it has to be black. It could be any color. So it's better to wear a color in your best color. So if your color is green, you could wear dark green. If one of your best colors is purple, you could wear a dark purple. So as long as the color is dark, it is more slimming, and it will create that long, uninterrupted line to create a slimmer effect. You can also use color blocking to create lines. And color blockings, for instance, in a dress, will create those long vertical lines and a longer look and a leaner look. Another way you can look taller and slimmer is to use vertical lines. So let's talk about some of those vertical lines you can use. The first one is in the V-neck. That could be in a jacket, it could be in a top, it could be in a blouse. The deeper the V-neck, the more length it will create. So if you have a deep V-neck in your shirt, it's going to create a longer look than if you have a short V-neck. The V-neck look can also be created by wearing a jacket, a darker color jacket or a lighter color with a contrasting color underneath. So when those two colors come together, it creates a V. So a V in a jacket or in a top will create that elongating line and will make you look taller and slimmer. So instead of wearing a turtleneck or a crew neck and you want to create that longer look, choose a V-neck. A belt is a horizontal line. So when you wear a belt, you're creating a horizontal line which interrupts the eye. Now the only difference is if you wear a belt that's the same color as your garment. So if you wear a pair of pants that has a belt that actually came with the pants and it's the same color, that doesn't count. So that doesn't interrupt because it's the same color and there's a flow. But if you are wearing a dress, let's say you're wearing a red dress and you wear a black belt with it, then there's a contrast with the color, so that breaks up the dress and creates a line which is a horizontal, and of course you know what happens, the eye stops. So there's a line to pay attention to. Now I'm not saying you can never wear these lines or wear a belt, of course not. What I'm showing you are the lines in clothing, so you have the option of choosing them or not choosing them. For example, a coat. So if you're choosing a coat, one that is straight without a belt is creating a long vertical line, rather than one that has pockets, that has a lot of details. Even though the belt might be the same color as the coat, the more details it has, the more interruptions. So a coat that is streamlined will create a longer look. So again, doesn't mean that you can't wear that other coat. It's just that this one will have fewer interruptions than the one with all the pockets and buttons and everything like that. So the first line was the line in your neckline, the V-necks or the horizontal lines. The next point where you'd find a line is around your waist area, which comes in the form of belts and pockets. They're also creating lines. And then the next line would be your hemline. So wherever the hemline is, it creates a horizontal line, and that's where the eye will stop. Not completely, just stop for a second. So it's a break. A dress that is longer, so if a dress comes right to the floor or close to the floor, it's creating a longer line. If it's shorter, it's creating a horizontal line. Now one way you can change this horizontal line with a dress is to wear boots that are under your dress. So if you have boots that come up under your dress, now the line is vertical. But if the boot stops below your dress, so there's a gap between your hemline and your boot about say 3 inches, now you've got 2 more lines. So you've got the boot line and the hemline. So that's more lines to create a stop. So if you just imagine your eye looking down an outfit, it stops at the neckline, it stops at the belt, it stops at the hemline. Every time it stops, the flow stops. So you don't want the flow to stop if you want to look slimmer and taller. If you want to look larger, this is what you would wear. So it depends on what you're looking for. So the next place that you will see a line will be in the shoe. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about the vamp in shoes before. So the vamp is that part of a shoe that comes up over your foot. So if the vamp is high, it covers a lot of your foot. If it's low, it doesn't cover as much of your foot. So a low vamp, when your vamp is low, it appears that your leg looks longer because there's a longer line between your shoe and your hemline. So if you want to create that long line there, you'd wear a low vamp. If you wear a high vamp, line is cut off, so you're creating a shorter look. Here again is another place you would want to be wary of your lines. So you can create a V right here. If the shoe has a, doesn't have to be a V, but it has a rounded shape, it's going to create that long line. But if it has a cut-off shape, it's creating a horizontal line. So that is the last spot where you'll have a line. And then there are simple lines and not so simple lines. So simple lines, again, the eye will travel easily over simple lines, but when there's a line that's not so simple, the eye stops. So an example of a simple line, again, is the V-neck. An example of a line that's not simple is a ruffle or pockets. So if you're wearing a top that has ruffles, the eye will stop. If it has a big yoke, the eye will stop. If it has pockets, the eye will stop. It won't stop quite as easily if it's all one color, but if there's more than one color, it will definitely stop. It's going to stop faster. So let's say you have ruffles, a blouse with ruffles, and there is piping at the end of the ruffle, which is a different color than the ruffle itself. Now you've created more interest, and wherever that is, like it says interest, your eye wants to stop because it sees something. So that's another line that you want to know about if you're trying to create a long, simple line. Now, if you're not, if you want to create more attention there, well, then you would wear ruffles. So it really depends on the lines that you want to create. Now, I'm talking today about looking slimmer, but you don't always want to look slimmer. Not everyone wants to look slimmer. Some people want to look larger. So you need to know what the lines do in order to choose the right lines. The next thing you want to think about when it comes to creating that long, slim look is texture. So the more texture it has, the more bulk it causes, the larger you will look. So for example, something that's bulky would be, of course, a bulky sweater. But then there are materials that are bulky, like velvet and quilted materials. Anything that's heavy will create a larger look. So if you want to have a slimmer look, choose texture that is smooth, but not so smooth that it's shiny, because again, if it's shiny, it's going to reflect light and will make you look larger, unless you want to look larger. So texture is very important. Anything that is crocheted or lace, anything like that, that even though it isn't heavy, it still has texture, and the eye will stop because, of course, it's interest, and the eye wants to stop and look at something interesting. When you choose styles that suit your body shape, then you have the lines in the clothing that suit your body, which creates a nicer look. It creates a more elegant look, it creates a more classy look, and it creates a more pulled together look. When you have lines that are interfering with each other and don't go together well, you're not going to look as great. If you don't know what your body shape is and you'd like some help with that, you can download my free guide right here, and that will show you how to decide what your body shape is and then the styles that look best on your body shape. Again, these are generic. We're all different, so there are styles that are more specific to you, and in that case you would need a personalized body shape analysis, which I can do for you, and I'll put the link down below for that. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and keep on styling.